Why billionaires love debt. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid debt. Pay off your loans. Stay out of debt. Never borrow money unless you have to. Sounds smart. So here's something strange. Some of the richest people on earth use billions of dollars of debt, not because they're broke, not because they need money, but because debt can make them richer. That sounds insane. Why would someone worth $100 billion ever borrow money? The answer isn't money, it's leverage. And once you understand this, you'll stop asking, how do I avoid debt? And start asking, how do wealthy people use it differently? Let's imagine something. You have $100,000. Most people would ask, what can I buy with this? A billionaire asks a completely different question. What can I control with this? That's the difference. Instead of using $100,000 to buy a $100,000 asset, they may use that same money to control something much bigger. Maybe a business, maybe real estate, maybe an investment. Now imagine that larger asset grows, the return becomes larger too. Same starting money, different strategy. This is called leverage, and leverage is one of the most powerful tools in wealth creation. But here's the part nobody talks about. Debt doesn't create wealth. Assets do. Debt simply gives wealthy people access to more assets. And that's where most people make a mistake. They borrow money to buy things that lose value. Cars, phones, luxury purchases, consumer spending. Then they spend years paying for things that become worth less every day. This is the debt most people know. And honestly, this kind of debt can become a trap. But wealthy people usually think differently. They don't ask, will this make me look rich? They ask, will this produce income? That's a completely different game. Let's take real estate. Two people, same starting money. One person buys a smaller property using only cash. The other uses part of that money to control a larger asset. Now time starts working. Rental income, property growth, cash flow, opportunity. And suddenly, the same amount of starting capital creates completely different outcomes. That's why leverage became such a powerful idea. Now let's go beyond real estate. Businesses use debt too. Companies borrow to expand, build factories, acquire competitors, open new markets, launch products. Why? Because sometimes growth creates more value than the cost of borrowing. Debt becomes a tool, not a burden. But there's another reason wealthy people sometimes prefer borrowing: taxes. Imagine owning assets worth hundreds of millions. Selling may create taxes. Borrowing can provide access to capital without immediately giving up ownership. Again, this doesn't make debt magical. Debt amplifies decisions. Good decisions become bigger. Bad decisions become expensive. That's why debt destroys some people and builds wealth for others. Same tool, different use. Think of it like fire. Fire can cook your food or burn your house. Debt works the same way. The danger isn't the tool. The danger is using it without understanding it, and that's where most people lose. They spend their lives trying to avoid debt instead of learning how money actually works. Now, don't misunderstand this. Borrowing money doesn't automatically make you wealthy, but understanding how wealthy people think about debt might completely change how you think about building wealth. Because billionaires don't ask, how do I stay away from debt? They ask, how do I use debt to acquire more assets? And that simple shift in thinking changes everything.
Subscribe to the Mogul IQ.
Built for winners.